The roar of 60,000 fans felt like a physical force, a wave of sound that vibrated through the soles of my cleats and up into my chest. It was the sound of home. The nest, the stadium of the Northwood Ravens, was my sanctuary. For 5 seasons, I, Leo Martinez, had been its golden son. Last season, I'd brought home the league's Golden Boot Award, my 28 goals firing the Ravens to a second-place finish, our best in a decade. My face was on billboards. My number 9 jersey was a sea of black and red in the stands. I wasn't just a player, I was a part of the city's heartbeat. Then came Coach Marcus Thorne. The club's board, hungry for that final step to a championship, had let our beloved avuncular Coach Miller retire and brought in Thorne, a man with a reputation for tactical genius and a personality colder than a January training session. He arrived with a sleek silver briefcase and eyes that seemed to analyze you for weaknesses, rather than see you as a person. Preseason felt different. The fluid, creative drills of Miller's era were replaced by rigid, repetitive patterns. Thorne spoke in clipped, emotionless sentences about structural integrity and phase of play transitions. Still, I worked. I was the first on the training pitch and the last to lead. I led every sprint, won every drill. I scored goals in the practice scrimmages with the same hunger I showed on a Saturday afternoon. I was ready to be the tip of Thorne's tactical spear. The team sheet for the season opener against Mid-Valley FC was posted on the locker room wall a day before the match. It was a formality for me. I'd started every meaningful game for 4 years. I scanned the list for Martinez L at the top. It wasn't there. My eyes darted down the list of forwards. Julian Vance, a new signing Thorne had brought with him from his old club, was at number 9. I wasn't even on the substitutes bench. My name was at the bottom of a separate sheet. Reserves. A cold knot formed in my stomach. It had to be a mistake. A typo. My best friend on the team, our midfield anchor Sam Jones, saw my face. Leo? What is it? I just pointed at the sheet. His jaw went slack. Number F-ing. Way. That's impossible. It's a mistake, I mumbled, my voice feeling distant. I walked down the hall to Thorne's office, the squeak of my trainers echoing in the sudden silence of my world. I knocked once and entered without waiting. Thorne was sitting behind a minimalist desk, watching game film on a laptop. He didn't look up. Leo, what can I do for you? Coach, the team sheet. There's been a mistake. I'm listed with the reserves. He finally paused the video and swiveled in his chair, his face a mask of detached professionalism. There is no mistake, Leo. Julian is starting tomorrow. We're going with a different tactical approach. The air left my lungs. Different approach? Coach, I scored 28 goals last season. I am your top scorer. What approach doesn't involve your top scorer? One that prioritizes defensive shape from the front, he said, his tone infuriatingly calm. Julian offers a more robust physical presence against their back line. It's a tactical decision, nothing personal. Nothing personal? He had just amputated a part of my identity and was calling it a tactical tweak. So I'm not even on the bench? After everything I've given this club? My voice cracked with a fury I was struggling to contain. You need to earn your spot, just like everyone else, he said, his eyes flicking back to his laptop. A clear dismissal. Show me in training that you can adapt to my philosophy. That will be all. I stood there for a moment, vibrating with a mixture of disbelief and white-hot rage. I had poured my blood, sweat, and soul onto the pitch for this club's badge. I had played through injuries, postponed holidays, and dedicated my entire life to the Ravens. And this man, this soulless tactician, had erased me with a pen stroke for a player who, respectfully, couldn't finish his dinner, let alone a one-on-one with the keeper. The next few weeks were a special kind of hell. I trained with the reserves, a collection of promising but raw youth players and veterans on their last legs. I dominated every session, scoring hat tricks against our youth team keepers, but it felt hollow. The first team trained on a separate pitch, their laughter and shouts a constant, painful reminder of where I wasn't. Sam would keep me updated. "Vance missed 2 sitters today, Leo. We drew 0-0. We needed you." Or, "Thorne spent the whole session yelling about shape. We look like robots out there. No one's taking a chance." The media went into a frenzy. "Martinez mystery. Where is Northwood's golden boot?" Headlines screamed. In press conferences, Thorne would feed them the same sterile lines about tactics and team philosophy. He never criticized me directly, which was almost worse. He made it sound like I was an obsolete piece of hardware, incompatible with his new operating system. I started to doubt myself. Was he right? Had I lost a step? Was I just a relic of a bygone era? The silence from the club's board was deafening. My loyalty, it seemed, was a one-way street. The breaking point came during the Northwood Derby, our biannual war against our cross-city rivals, the Northwood Vipers. The Vipers were our antithesis. Their colors were a venomous green and black. Their stadium was nicknamed the Pit, and their fans loathed us with a passion that made football feel like a religion. The Ravens were struggling, down 1-0 with 20 minutes to go. The nest was a cauldron of anxiety, and then it started. A low chant from the back of the main stand. "Leo! Leo! Leo!" It grew, spreading like wildfire through the stadium until 60,000 people were screaming my name. They hadn't forgotten. They still believed in me. I was sitting in the stands, my club suit feeling like a straitjacket. I watched Thorne on the sideline, his arms crossed, his face impassive. He ignored the chants. He sent on a defensive midfielder. We lost the derby at home for the first time in 6 years. Julian Vance had 1 shot, and it went out for a throw-in. That night, I called my agent, Isabella Rossi. "I'm done, Izzy," I said, the words tasting like ash. "He's trying to destroy my career. Get me out." "I've been making quiet inquiries, Leo," she said, her voice a soothing balm of competence. "The problem is the transfer window is closed. We'd have to wait until January, and Thorne is telling other clubs you have a discipline issue, that you're not a team player. He's poisoning the well." The injustice of it stole my breath. "So I'm trapped. For now," she said, "just keep your head down. Be the ultimate professional. Document everything. We wait for him to make a mistake." The next 3 months were a blur of humiliating reserve games and soul-crushing training sessions. The Ravens slipped down the table. The vibrant, attacking team of last season was now a rigid, predictable mess. The fans grew more and more restless. Thorne's philosophy was failing. Then, in late November, the call came. It was Izzy. "Are you sitting down, Leo?" "Why?" "I got a call, an official inquiry, from an interested club." A spark of hope ignited in my chest. "Who? Is it one of the southern clubs?" There was a pause. It's the Northwood Vipers." I laughed. It was a bitter, hollow sound. "Very funny, Izzy. The Vipers? They hate me. Their fans want to see me with a broken leg, not wearing their jersey." "Their coach doesn't," Izzy said calmly. "Anya Sharma. She's a revolutionary. She builds her teams around smart, technical players. She thinks Thorne is an idiot for benching you. She thinks she can get you for a bargain and win the league with you." The Vipers. The enemy, the thought was nauseating. Pulling on that green and black shirt would be the ultimate betrayal in the eyes of the Ravens fans, the very people who were still chanting my name. "I can't," I said. "They're the rivals. They're the only team making a concrete offer, Leo," Izzy pressed. "Thorne has made you radioactive. Sharma is willing to take the risk. She sees your talent, not the lies Thorne is spreading. Do you want to rot in the reserves out of loyalty to fans of a club whose management has thrown you to the wolves? Or do you want to play football and stick it to the man who tried to end you?" Her words hit me like a physical blow. She was right. My loyalty was to my career, to my talent, to the game itself. Thorne had declared war on me. This was my chance to fire back. "Set up the meeting," I said, my heart pounding. I met Coach Sharma in a neutral location, a quiet hotel lounge. She was the opposite of Thorne in every way. Where he was cold and rigid, she was warm and animated. She didn't talk about abstract philosophies. She talked about me. "Leo," she began, pulling out a tablet. "I've watched every game you've played for the last 3 years. This goal here against City, you see the run you make, pulling the center back out of position just before the cross comes in? That's not just instinct, that's geometric genius. Thorne sees a striker. I see a spatial artist." For an hour, she broke down my game with an intelligence and appreciation no one ever had. She showed me how I would fit into the Viper's fluid, attacking system. She didn't see me as a cog in a machine. She saw me as the engine. "The fans will be tough at first," she admitted, "but you score goals, you win them games, and you show them your heart. They'll come around. All I ask is you give me the same commitment you gave them." I walked out of that meeting a changed man. The doubt Thorne had planted in my mind was gone, replaced by a burning desire to prove him wrong and prove her right. The news of my transfer in the January window detonated like a bomb in the city of Northwood. The sports radio shows went into meltdown. I was branded a traitor, a snake, a mercenary. The Ravens issued a cold, 2-sentence statement wishing me well. Thorne, in a press conference, said, "We wish Leo the best. We are focused on the players who are committed to the Ravens project." The hypocrisy was staggering. Walking out for my first game at the pit, wearing the Viper green, was one of the hardest things I'd ever done. The boos were deafening, but then I scored, a 20-yard curler into the top corner. A silence fell over the stadium, followed by a tentative, then explosive roar of approval. I did it again the next week and the week after. The Vipers, who had been mid-table, started climbing. Sharma's faith in me was paying off. I was happy again. I was playing football. The calendar circled a date in April. Vipers versus Ravens at the Nest. My return. The buildup was intense. The media billed it as the reckoning. Thorne versus Martinez. The betrayed versus the traitor. For me, it was simpler. It was my chance to get closure, to deliver my response not in words, but with my feet. The night of the game, the atmosphere was toxic. Every time I touched the ball, a cascade of boos rained down from the stands that had once worshipped me. I saw the signs: Judas, snake. It hurt, but I channeled the pain into focus. The Ravens under Thorne were exactly as I'd left them: rigid, predictable, and toothless in attack. Vance was a ghost, easily handled by our defenders. The game was a tense, cagey affair. We were locked at 0-0 heading into the final 5 minutes. The Vipers won a free kick, about 25 yards from goal. Dead center. This was my spot. As I placed the ball, I looked over at the Ravens' dugout. Thorne was standing there, arms crossed, his face a stony mask. I saw it all again. His dismissive wave in the office, the reserve team sheet, the empty platitudes to the press. The collective noise of 60,000 people faded into a dull hum. There was only me, the ball, the goal, and the man who had tried to break me. I took 3 steps back. I breathed out. I ran forward and struck the ball. It was perfect. The ball arced beautifully over the wall of red and black shirts. The Ravens keeper, my old teammate, leaped, his fingers outstretched, but he could only grasp at air. The ball kissed the underside of the crossbar and nestled into the back of the net. Absolute, stunning silence. For a second, the nest was a vacuum. Then, the eruption from the small corner of the stadium housing the traveling Vipers fans. I didn't run to them. I didn't slide on my knees. I didn't pump my fists. I turned and walked calmly toward the halfway line, my eyes locked on one person. I raised my hand, pointed a single finger directly at Coach Marcus Thorne, and held his gaze. There was no malice in my expression, just a calm, undeniable statement. You were wrong. His mask of indifference finally cracked. For a fleeting moment, I saw the fury, the humiliation, the recognition of his colossal mistake. He had tried to cast me into the wilderness, and instead, I had returned to conquer his kingdom. The final whistle blew a few minutes later. Vipers won, Ravens 0. As my new teammates mobbed me, I caught a glimpse of Sam. He gave me a slow, deliberate nod of approval. Some Ravens fans were still booing, but others were simply staring. The reality of what they'd lost sinking in. They hadn't lost me to money or glory. They had lost me to the arrogance of one man. In the tunnel, a reporter shoved a microphone in my face. "Leo, what does it feel like to get your revenge on Coach Thorne?" I smiled, a genuine smile for the first time in months. "This wasn't about revenge," I said, the lie feeling like the truest thing I'd ever spoken. This was about a coach who believed in me, a team that welcomed me, and the simple joy of playing football. Some people forget what this game is all about. I'm just glad I found a place that remembers. I walked into the chaotic, joyous Vipers locker room, the sound of my new family celebrating washing over me. The revenge was sweet. There was no denying it. Finding a home where I was wanted, that was victory.